Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a special festive episode of The Studio. My name is Adam, and today's very special episode is the 2017 edition of What's in My Mallet Collection. Thank you so much to my studio VIPs, Luke Umura, Leo Palacios, Cesar Marquez, Artifact Percussion, Zero Gravity Percussion. Thank you so much for your support. And today's featured studio artist is Bao Ying Walao. Thank you so much for joining the studio artist team. And if you'd like to become a studio artist or studio VIP, you can go to patreon.com/M10 or you can click over here. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all of you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful festive season leading up to the end of 2017. This is studio episode number 50 and we've come a very, very long way since the beginning of the show. So thank you so much for your support once again. And because it's the 50th episode and it is the festive season, look at this hideous t-shirt. So I wanted to do a big video for you guys that you have been asking for a very, very long time. Since last year, it is my What's in My Mallet Bag video. Now I did one in 2016 and a lot of you guys were asking me to do a 2017 version. And I kept telling you guys that I was going to wait until the end of the year because it was after PASIC, it was after when everyone sent me mallets, so I'd have the biggest amount of mallets to show you guys. So that's what this video is for. But I'm not just going to talk about what's in my mallet bag because usually my mallet bag is actually empty, and that's because I don't really carry the same mallets to every single concert. Every different concert has different demands, so telling you what's in my mallet bag wouldn't be very accurate. But if you want to know what this stick bag is, it is of course the Galaxy Grip Bag from Humes & Berg. Not sponsored, not endorsing this product, I just really like this bag. So that's why this video isn't called What's in My Mallet Bag, it's called What's in My Mallet Collection. So yeah, I'm going to go through my entire mallet and stick collection. That is right, all 125 or so pairs. I don't know what the exact number is, but I think it's around 125. All 125 plus mallets and sticks in my collection. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about each one as well. And I'm also going to have a little surprise at the very, very end of this video, so stay tuned for that. But before I get stuck into the collection video, I just want to answer some really frequently asked questions. The first question that I get asked a lot is, did you buy all of these mallets in this collection? Nope. And of course the answer is no, I did not buy all 125 pairs of mallets. In fact, out of the 125 pairs of mallets that I have in this collection, I probably only bought about 20 over my 10 years of playing percussion. The rest are what I like to call samples. So if you're new to the show, I get a lot of mallets sent to the studio to review or sometimes as gifts from different companies, and I really appreciate it. Of course, thank you so much to everyone who has sent me stuff over the last year and a half. But of course that means all the samples are going to build up and eventually you get this massive collection behind me. Woo! The second question I get asked a lot is how much is this collection worth? And that's a really hard question to answer because obviously it depends on where you live, it depends where you buy them from, it depends on whether you buy them at all. But if you were to put a retail value on every single one of these mallets, I think the ballpark figure is about $3,000, $4,000 around there somewhere. But again, that is retail value and nobody ever pays full retail price. So I don't know. The third question I get asked a lot is, do I use all of the collection? Do I use all 125 pairs in the collection? And the answer is no, I usually stick to what I like, and what I like changes depending on what the pieces are, depending on what I feel like. Sometimes I feel like heavier mallets, sometimes I feel lighter mallets, sometimes I feel like warmer mallets or more articulate. It really depends. And the final question that I get asked a lot is, am I going to be selling or giving away these mallets? Now, I don't sell or give away samples. I do sell and give away mallets that I've bought myself because they're mine and I bought them with my own money. But mallets that are sent to me as samples, I like to keep them because I think it's more morally right, I guess. But of course, if you have any questions about this collection that I haven't answered, or if you have any other questions about anything in general, please feel free to leave a comment down below, and please give me a thumbs up if you're enjoying the video so far because it's about to get lit. Okay, so now we're going to get into the collection, and I have divided the collection into 4 sections. I have rack 1, rack 2, bucket 1, and bucket 2. Very creative names, I know. Rack 1 is around the corner over there. Rack 2 is this rack behind me, and the buckets are on the floor. So since I'm standing here already, I'm gonna start with bucket 1. It's all mallets that I don't really use at all, or mallets that don't really fit nicely on the rack that I haven't used yet, so I just put them all into this bucket. But my rule for this bucket is that they all have to be marimba mallets. Except for the Bolter Blues, I don't know what's going on there. So the first thing in bucket number 1 is 2 pairs of Mike Bolter 84Bs. These are mallets that I bought in 2015 and I used them quite a lot during that year because they were cheap. And if you want to find out more about these mallets, you can see the cheap versus expensive mallets video on my channel right now. But basically, Mike Bolter, a very affordable brand, and these mallets are quite warm sounding. They're not heavy at all. They're like quite light, to be honest, even though they have very big heads. Can pass for a two-tone mallet if you try hard enough, but really these are more just like a medium mallet, and I have 2 pairs of mediums because I was obsessed with medium mallets back then. And yeah, I wrapped them in green tennis tape, and I also have a little tree sticker at the top and also a little piece of silver tape back when I was obsessed with mallet customization. I still am. The next series in bucket number 1 is the Iñaki Sebastian MCS series, and there are 2 pairs of MCS 3s, which are medium softs, and 1 pair of MCS 6N. I did a review of these on my channel early this year, and they're not bad mallets, like they're not terrible. Iñaki Sebastian makes some really good mallets, and these I bought in 2016 and they've already worn quite a lot. That was one thing I didn't like about them. And the second thing is they have a fair amount of contact sound, which isn't bad. Some people like that. I personally don't really like it, so I stopped using these after a while. But when I did use them, they were okay, and they were relatively cheap when I got them, but now the price is a little bit and they used to have some tennis tape wrap on them, but I took it off and put it on another series known as the Van Sice. Speaking of which, these are the Vic Firth M112 Van Sices. I have 2 more pairs of Van Sice, but they're on the rack. They're on the other rack. As you can see, I never finished wrapping this one. I kind of half and half wrapped it. They're actually double wrapped. There's a layer of red tape underneath this black tape because I wanted to see how thick I could make it. This pair just happens to sit here because it's my least used combination. I don't really use 2 112s, and as you guys know, I'm a big fan of Van Sice because it's a 50-50 mallet. It's very easy to use and it's relatively affordable. It's made by Vic Firth. The build quality is really good. Matthew Lau used these for like 10 or 11 years or something ridiculous. So still a really good purchase if you're looking for affordable mallets. These are mallets that all of you guys are probably familiar with. It is the one and only Bolter Blue, otherwise known as the Mike Bolter 23R, which is part of the Pro Vibe series. Now note that it's called the Pro Vibe series, but when I was in undergrad, a lot of people like to use these on marimba as well because, well, we couldn't afford to buy lots of mallets, so we would always get told, oh, just buy the 23Rs and put them on marimba, which is not impossible. Like, it's not a terrible thing to do. It's not a sound that I'm a fan of. Like, it's very dotty, and they are vibraphone mallets, so yeah, we got it. And as you can see, they are extremely well worn. The tape is like black now because I use them so much for all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I think they're a great vibraphone mallet. Would I use this on a marimba though? No. Next up in the series, I have yet another popular series here in Perth, which is the innovative percussion Nebojša Jovan Chivkovic, I know how to pronounce it now, Chivkovic mallets. So these NJZ5s are my only Chivkoviches and they're my personal set, and one of them is missing because it broke. I snapped it off by doing this, and you might have seen it in my What's in My Mallet Bag 2016. It's just this little piece of mallet. It's quite embarrassing. So for their size, these mallets are relatively heavy. It's definitely an acquired taste in my opinion, but I think they're okay. And yeah, as you can see, when I wrap these, I ran out of green tape, so one of them is orange. And they also have banana stickers. Oh! Next up, I have this pair of white mallets, and a lot of you guys tried to guess what these were when I showed them on my Instagram for the first time. Some of you guys said they were Keiko Arbes. That is absolutely wrong. They are actually the Malletech Stevens series, so the Lee Howard Stevens mallet series. And I got these as a gift from Therese literally just a month ago. They're a relatively new collection edition. Now I only have 1 pair here, which is the LS15, which I think is a 2-tone something, and around the corner I have 3 more pairs of Stevens, which I'll go through later on. Next up, I have these Artifact Percussion, I think they're called Kalem mallets. They are the medium mallets from Artifact Percussion, but these have a brown shaft from a material called Mikada, which is the same material used apparently in knife handles, and I talked about this in my marimba mallet review for Artifact Percussion. If you want to check that out, that's in the channel right now. But yes, this is the first sample that I've mentioned in the video so far. These were sent to me from Artifact Percussion. Next up is a mallet series that was very popular on the show. It's one of my most popular mallet reviews right now, which is these the Dragonfly Percussion Marimba Mallets 2nd generation. Now I reviewed the 1st generation last year and I thought they were really good, but there were a few shortcomings here and there, and they fixed them in this generation. They are really robust, nice, articulate mallets. I have the entire series here, courtesy of Dragonfly Percussion. Thank you so much, Dragonfly, for sending me these. Next up, I have 2 Encore Mallet series, which they gave to me at PASIC. They're both latex mallets. One of them is the original latex mallet series called LB. So I've got 23 LB, 24 LB, 25 LB. There's actually 4.5 pairs of the original latex series. And I've got these mallets, which are Valerie Naranjo mallets, and they are also made of latex, but they are for world percussion use. I've got 2.5 pairs of these. And I can't really tell you much about these just yet because I haven't reviewed them yet. I haven't looked into them yet, but they seem pretty light. They have a relatively clear sound from the little testing that I've done with them so far, and I really like the shape of them. They remind me of like dim sum or something. And finally, the last pair of mallets that are in bucket number 1 are these. Now, I would challenge anyone to identify what these mallets are. No idea? Yeah, well, that's because these mallets are made by a guy named Zachary. His YouTube name is Magnesium PC, and he wanted to make these mallets because he wants to start a mallet company. I think that's amazing. Really good on you, Zach. And these mallets are called Zenith Pro. I think that's the name that he's giving them, Zenith Pro. But honestly, for handmade mallets, these are really good. Like, the shafts feel really nice. The yarn is really robust. It's really well wrapped at the bottom, and the sound is pretty good. And they are super light. Like, I would say they are one of the lightest mallets, closest thing I've had probably to 50-50 actually. So yeah, I can't wait to put these on video properly for you, Zach, but thank you so much for making these for me. He gave them to me at the PASIC panel. I really appreciate it. And yeah, my first pair of custom mallets. Okay, so that's bucket number 1 done, and now it's time for bucket number 2. Now, as you can see, bucket number 2 doesn't have any marimba mallets whatsoever. They're all mallets that are not marimba mallets. So you've got vibraphone mallets, timpani mallets, multi-percussion, xylophone beaters, everything except for marimba mallets. And as you can tell, there's not many because I don't play much of things that aren't marimba. I'm a bad example. I'm betting you never thought you'd see snare drum sticks on this show. These are my personal Cooperman number 1s, which are Graham C. John sticks, a very common snare drum stick around the world. They're made of persimmon wood. They're a little bit weighty. I wouldn't say they're super affordable, but they are relatively well priced for sticks that aren't, you know, like cheap snare drum sticks. And I don't really know that much about snare drum, and I don't really play that much snare drum, which is why I only have 1 pair of nice snare drum sticks, but it's better than nothing, right? Speaking of snare drum sticks, here's my Vic Firth SD1s. Everyone has a pair of Vic Firth SD1 Generals. Like, they're just a snare drum stick you can sort of chuck around because they're cheap, and that's exactly what I use them for. I use them in situations where I'm afraid of losing sticks, because if I lost these, I wouldn't be totally unhappy because, well, they're so common anyway. But these are a different story. These are my SD Tubularies, and believe it or not, these are actually the oldest stick or mallet in my collection. They are the oldest because they've been with me since the very, very, very beginning. I've had these for over 10 years. Back when I started percussion 10 years ago in 2007 as a small little high school kid, my mum bought me these so that I could practice at home, and I've kept them ever since. I don't use them as much anymore because I want to keep them intact. I don't want to snap them. But as you can see, I've put a lot of cracks into the sticks. I've used them on a lot of rims. They have some electrical tape because I tried to be creative when I was 13 years old. And if you look at these sticks, you can see a faint purple line, which is meant to indicate where to hold the stick. That was drawn by my teacher 10 years ago. Miss Turner, if you're watching, thank you so much for doing that. Speaking of drumsticks, these are the SD6 Swizzle Bs. As you can see, they have this ball side on one side and they have an SD2 snare drum stick head on the other side. So you got 2 options. These are really popular, like flippy, multi-percussion sort of sticks. Now for something even more hilarious, timpani mallets. These are something that I've never talked about on the show, and as you can see from the condition of these mallets, I really don't play much timpani. Like, I really don't care about timpani at all. Obviously, if you're studying at university, you should care about timpani, but I've never really needed to play timpani because I don't play in any orchestral stuff. Billy Hyde timpani mallets. Now, Billy Hyde is a drum shop chain that closed down about 5 or 6 years ago in Perth, and it was the only drum shop that we had, and this is basically a generic brand of timpani mallets. They were my first pair, and I used them for literally everything over about 5 or 6 years. And then these 2 pairs are Vic Firth T1 Generals and T2 Staccatos, and I also use these quite a lot. I use the Generals for basically everything. That's why the fluff is everywhere. The T2s were a more recent purchase, but yeah, I haven't really had the chance to use these very much at all, so That's why they're in this bucket. Because I suck at timpani. Now here's a pair of Yamaha timpani mallets which I got from Japan 3 years ago, and they were really cheap. I think they were like $15 at the time, and they are just like a really hard timpani mallet. It's just straight wood. And I actually didn't use these for timpani at all. I would use them for things like Xenakis and stuff like that with the very little Xenakis that I played. Don't think I've ever actually used these on actual timpani. This bucket continues to surprise me. This is a no-name pair of 5A drumsticks. I don't even know where they came from. I think I found them on the floor at high school and I just forgot to give them back. Sorry, high school. Next up we have the Dragonfly Percussion vibraphone mallets, which are basically smaller versions of the marimba mallets. I really like these vibe mallets for like bright stuff, like really articulate sound. They're super light, they're really easy to use, they're very responsive, very bouncy. They don't wear out because they're using the potato sack thing. I think these are some of the greatest buys you can get for a vibraphone mallet. Next up we have more vibe mallets, which are the Gary Burton M25s. These are some of my favorite vibe mallets. I wish I had 2 pairs of them. I only have 1 pair because I found these in a drum shop for very, very cheap. I can't remember which drum shop, but it was about 3 years ago or something like that. They are a little bit weightier than most vibraphone mallets, but I just wish I had 2 pairs. Next up we have the Tony Miceli vibraphone mallets. Now, as you guys know, I really like these vibraphone mallets a lot, mainly because the color looks awesome, they sound really warm but bright at the same time. I'm definitely no expert at vibes, but I think they're one of the best vibe mallets I've ever used, and yeah, they have banana stickers on them. Next up, I have 2 pairs of Musa M1 fiberglass rubber mallets. Now, these were basically a one-off set of mallets. I only used them in Music for 18 Musicians because I was Marimba 1, haha, Marimba 1. I was the Marimba 1 part, which is the on-beat part, ding, 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 ding. And playing with these made it a little bit easier because the fiberglass responded, but what I didn't like about these mallets is the bottoms. They are not smooth ends make friends. If you want to know what smooth ends make friends doesn't feel like, buy these mallets and get yourself cut on the edge of this because it's really sharp. And I've been thinking of selling them for a long time, but I just never got around to it. So if you want a pair of Musa M1s, hit me up in the comments below. Next up is definitely one of the most versatile mallets that I've ever owned, which is the 4Rs, the Mike Bolter 4Rs, which are green rubber mallets. And I used to borrow everyone else's Mike Bolter 4Rs back in undergrad because I never had a pair, and then I bought this pair last year, and now it barely gets used because I'm not at university anymore. I have these xylophone mallets called the Vic Firth M132s, which are a dark xylophone mallet. They're quite a big plastic head xylophone mallet. They work, I guess. I don't really use them that much. I got them last year and I kind of regret buying them. I suck! Next up, Bolter Basic BB10s. These were one of my first Glock mallets. They've got a fair few scratches on them. I have used these a fair bit, but they don't sound fantastic because, well, they are Bolter Basics. They are designed for maximum value for money. I think I got them for like $5. They are super cheap mallets, but you do get what you pay for. And I did use these a lot in undergrad, but I don't use them anymore because there's a lot better out there. Mike Bolter 11Rs. These used to be yellow yarn mallets, and then all the yarn fell off because I played with them too much and they just became these core mallets. I did can heat Kopetsky and I used these for them because I just needed a rubber mallet. If I'm ever looking for a sound where I need just a core sound, I suppose I can use these, but otherwise it's kind of weird. Next up, Bolter Basic BB12, a really good budget brass mallet. If you really just need a brass mallet that is cheap, I think this is like $10 or something. And the only thing I don't like about it is that it's really long for a Glock mallet. These are a pair of roots that I got given from my teacher, Tim White. He gave all of us a pair of these for free, and I really appreciate it because, yeah, they're really cool. I don't have anything else like this, and it's a root, so you can just slippity slap 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 slap. Finally, time for some real Glock mallets. Mike Bolter himself gave me these mallets at PASIC. They are called the GP1s, and I think GP is a series of Glock mallets, but look how short they are. Look how short these mallets are. They are tiny. I guess if you wanted to do, I don't know, Sorcerer's Apprentice or something like really fast. And finally, the last pair of mallets in bucket number 2 are these, the Mike Bolter X4s. Again, Mike Bolter also gave me these as a gift at PASIC, and they are rubber-headed xylophone mallets with quite a lot of attack. They go whoop, 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 whoop. So yeah, that's all for bucket number 2, which means it's time to move to rack number 1. Okay, now we're standing next to rack number 1, which was my original mallet rack. There are 3 IKEA shoe racks here. If you want to figure out how to make these mallet racks, I made a tutorial for it. You can check it out over here or in the description below. This mallet rack is most of my favorite mallets, and they are mallets that range from $25 all the way up to $87. So there's a bit of a spectrum here, and there are some mallets that aren't marimba mallets, but most of them are marimba mallets. Let's start off with the top row. And by the way, these rows are not arranged in any sort of order of importance. I just put them there because I think it looks nice. Starting from the very left hand corner, we have the Artifact Percussion marimba mallets. These are some of the best value marimba mallets on the market right now. Completely customizable. You can get different shaft lengths, different heads, different cores. And thanks to Artifact, I have all 4 of these mallets. I believe they call it Aureus, Calum, Ignis, and Quartus. Very fancy names for mallets, but yes, if you want to check out for the review of these mallets, they are on my channel right now. Next up, we have the Zero Gravity Percussion Jupiter mallet series. And Jupiter means, well, because they kind of look like the planet Jupiter. Definitely one of my favorite mallet releases of 2017, and they are very affordable. I think they're around $30 a pair, and they are very warm. They are quite nice. They aren't too heavy at all. In fact, they are quite easy to just point and go like doop. I use these mallets in Tasong Kong and Marimba Dreams to premiere my piece Path, as well as play some other pieces like Sibelius and things like that. So I think it's a really cool warm mallet for the price. Next up, we have probably what is one of the most expensive mallet series in the world right now, and also the most expensive series in my collection. They are grails for a lot of people. They are, of course, the Marimba 1 Wave Wraps. I have to say, even though the price tag is really high, these are still really good mallets, both on the low register and the upper register, and I have to agree, they do sound pretty good. Marimba 1 sent me these mallets to review on the show. Thank you so much, Marimba 1, and I've featured them in a few videos, not only just the review video, but also cheap versus expensive, because these are $86.95 a pair, which is very, very expensive, but I think for some people it's definitely worth that money. I have to be honest, I didn't really use the wave wraps much when I first got them, but I've been using them more and more as I really like the bounciness, the ease of control. They are not heavy at all. They are very robust mallets, and yeah, I've wrapped them in red, racing red. If you guys remember, if you want to see a tutorial on how to wrap your mallets, it's over here. Okay, let's move to the second row of rack number 1, and it starts off with the bottom half of the Artifact Percussion mallets, which I just talked about, followed by some more Leigh Howard Stevens mallets. These things have no attack whatsoever, like zero. It's just like a big wow. So it's kind of like an organ sound, and I don't know whether I really like that sort of bass sound. I always feel like marimba should have some sort of attack. Really strange to me, but I think some people like that. Next up, we have the entire Katazina Mishka series from Marimba 1. Now, this mallet series is one of the biggest mallet series I have in the collection because it has 7 hardnesses, and the entire collection is here. It was the first full collection of marimba mallets I ever owned, because before that I'd only received half of series, and Marimba 1 sent me this entire series in one go, so I was very thankful for that. Thank you so much, Marimba 1. Being Marimba 1 artist mallets, they are definitely on the expensive side, around the $70 mark. Actually, my favorite mallet of this series is the 4, which is the medium. It's a really nice balanced mallet. It feels really nice in the hand, and it just sounds really round. But this entire series is really good. I did a review on these last year. If you want to check it out, it's on my channel. Okay, it's time to move to row number 3. Artifact Percussion Vibraphone mallets. Now, I know one of these is medium and one of them is medium hard, but Aaron from Artifact actually gave me these at PASIC. He was very nice about it. Thank you so much, Aaron, for giving me these vibraphone mallets. I will definitely try them when I have a vibraphone around to try them on, but for now they feel quite good. They don't feel as heavy as the marimba mallets, and they have rattan, and the rattan is definitely a lot stiffer than a lot of rattan that I've used before. Artifact Percussion! Next up, we're going back to Marimba 1 with the Colin Curry series. Now, the Colin Curry series is actually one of the few Marimba 1 mallets that is not heavy. In fact, it's pretty close to 50-50. There are 4 harnesses in this series, CCB 4321, and the 1 is this famous rubber mallet, which is quite a hefty rubber mallet. It's definitely more of like a big rubber core that's been kind of reinforced. It's really nice construction. If you're looking for a mallet that is definitely more on the articulate side, then Colin Curry might be the one. Next up, we have the cheapest mallets in the Marimba 1 series, which are the Marimba 1 round sound. Some people call these watermelon mallets, myself included, and they are only slightly heavy. They are not as heavy as a lot of the other Marimba 1 mallets, and they feel just as good. The build quality is just as good. I really like the design, and they are super affordable. So if you're looking to get into Marimba 1 style mallets and you don't want to spend too much money, the round sounds are a good bet. Ivana! Next up, we have half of a Marimba 1 series known as the Ivana Bilic series. These are probably the heaviest Marimba 1 mallets I've ever owned. Like, oh! These mallets are super heavy, and they are super chunky, and they have a relatively big sound. Not necessarily my favorite bass mallet. Also, the hardnesses are out of order, like 5 is actually softer than 6. It's a bit unusual. For now, I think this is my least recommended Marimba 1 series, because it's one that you really have to try yourself before you might say, I really like them. It's definitely personal preference. And finally, we move to the bottom row of rack number 1, which has the one and only Marimba 1 Double Helix series. Now, I have the entire Double Helix helix series here, but I didn't have the entire double helix series until after PASIC. Before that, I only had 4, 5, 6. Now I also have 1, 2, 3, so expect that next year. But the double helix series definitely is a series that I like for Marimba 1 because it's one of the series that you can actually buy the individual harnesses and not the entire series. Like a lot of my friends have the double helix too. It's a very simple, clear, not contact sounding mallet. Double helix was the mallet series that got me interested in Marimba 1 in the first place, so still one of their best series, in my opinion. Van Sice, a mallet series that I used for pretty much over a year and a half, and I used it quite frequently because it is a very simple mallet to use. It is a true 50-50 mallet. It is very durable, it's affordable, and it's just everything I ever wanted in a simple mallet. I think the duotonal mallets are definitely a better all-rounder mallet, but I think if you want something articulate, something clear, something for ensemble use, or something that you just want to be fast with, I think the Van Sices are really good value for money, and they just don't die. I mean, Matthew Lau had his for 11 years, so woo! The Lin Vartan series from Marimba 1. Again, Marimba 1 sent me these, and these were a series I was very curious about because Lin Vartan is a really cool person. Really not that heavy at all. They looked a lot heavier in the pictures, but they are not. And they have these really cool silver bits sticking out. I just love the colors. But yeah, definitely a very popular choice. Okay, how are you doing? Are you getting tired? Yeah, we are almost there at the end of the mallet collection. This is about 75% of it. And the last part of it is on rack number 2. Now, row number 1 is dominated by red, and it is of course the Kana Amore series from Encore. Now, I really wanted these mallets when they released at PASIC in 2016, but I wasn't at PASIC 2016, but I heard about everyone getting their hands on them, and then they didn't have them on retail, and then I finally managed to get most of the series from Encore mallets. Thank you so much, Encore, for giving me these mallets because I've wanted them for so long, and they're bright red, just like me. But yes, I love the color of these mallets, I love the design, I love the sound of them, but they are very, very heavy mallets. So yeah, I've always been a fan of Encore's warm mallets, and this mallet series is no exception. It's super warm, and I haven't reviewed these yet at the time of this video, but I will review them very, very soon. The next series on this wall is actually not a sample, and it's not from PASIC, so actually I lied, I said everything from here is from PASIC, but this is not. This is the Nancy Zeltzman graduated set, otherwise known as Grad B. This was my first Encore mallets purchase, as well as my first Encore mallets review. In fact, it's episode 2 of the studio. If you can check that out on my channel, you'll see how bad I was at presenting back then. I literally took so long to say like one sentence. It's still one of my favorite base mallets of all time from any manufacturer. It's just a really nice, warm, powerful mallet that isn't like, oh, super heavy, really controllable, but it's just like, wow. I call this colorway Pretty in Pink because it's pink and silver. It's like a very fashionable colorway, if you like. But yes, the Zeltzman mallets are very popular, and for good reason. Now, the second row is dominated by a mallet series that is also from Encore mallets, and is also a mallet series I wanted for a very, very long time. It is the Nanai Mimura series, and there are so many things I like about this mallet series that it is in my general rotation right now. Ever since I got it from PASIC, I've been using it non-stop for pretty much any marimba application that I want, and I use it in this exact setup, 6543, and I've got all of the harnesses, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Because the Nanai Mimura 7 is currently my favorite base mallet of all time. It is my favorite base mallet in this entire collection. And this graduated set in my left hand, 6543, is my favorite graduated set of all time in this collection. I cannot believe I gave that to a mallet series that I only got like a couple of months ago. It's crazy. Now, the next mallet series, which is in row number 3, is a series that I have the most pairs of in any of these series. Like, the most pairs that I have in an actual proper series is 7. And this one also only goes up to 7, but I have 10 pairs of this series. It is, of course, the Mike Bolter Keiko Kotoku series. The Keiko Kotoku series really interested me at Mike Bolter's booth at PASIC. When I tried them, I realized there was a really good blend between the Van Sice sort of light mallet feel that is like close to 50-50 feel, not quite 50-50, but almost there. Good mix between that and also warmer mallets like the Nanai Mimura series that I mentioned earlier. So I was looking for a mallet series that might eventually replace my Van Sices, and these may be the ones. Mike Bolter himself gave me every harness of the KK series, but actually he also gave me duplicates of 5, 4, and 3, so that's why I have 10 pairs of these. I actually have too many of these, but they are really nice. Like, they feel really nice on first impressions. The quality is good. But yeah, so far I'm liking these mallets. I'm definitely going to keep trying them and seeing how I feel about them. But I also really like the off-white color. And finally, the last row of this rack, the last row of this collection is all from the same brand. It's Salya's Percussion, a brand that I've never really used before until a lot of you guys were telling me about it in the comments below. This is one of them. It's the Doug DeMoro series, DD400, DD300, DD200, and DD100. And they are very interesting mallets, to say the least. I mean, look how big their heads are. It's like a massive chocolate ice cream. They're definitely not a mallet series that I'm used to. They're very, very heavy because they're so big. I will definitely review these very soon. I'm still unsure at the moment, so stay tuned. And finally, the Salya's Percussion Earth Tone series. I tried these at PASIC, I tried them here, and these definitely feel more like what a marimba mallet normally feels like to me, like all of my other collection. I don't have every hardness of these. I have the ET50, the ET30, and the ET20. I have 2 pairs of the 30, so there's 4 pairs. But they don't feel like they're super heavy, definitely on the weighty side. So I'm guessing that that's a Salya's thing maybe, just to have like heavier mallets in general. And I can't wait to try these on the show. I can't wait to show them for you guys and see what you think. So yes, that is my entire mallet and stick collection for the end of 2017. Thank you so much for watching all the way up to this point. If you would like a full list of every mallet featured in this video, there is a kit page in the description below which has the entire list with purchase links if you are so interested. So yeah, make sure you check that out. And if you like this very special Christmas episode, please give me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. And please leave a comment down below as to what you would like to see for next year's season of the studio, because I have a few plans of what I want to do next year, but I want to see what you guys think. So let me know in the comments down below. And yes, please hit that red subscribe button. Oh wait, not yet, not yet, not yet. There's still one more thing that we have to do. well, I couldn't finish the Christmas video without having a Christmas medley in it, so I hope you enjoyed that. So yes, anyway, as I was saying before, please hit that red subscribe button below to keep up with my uploads. I upload every week, whether it's technique content, whether it's mallet reviews or product reviews, or my new compositions. I'm planning to release a few new pieces next year. That's right, a few, not just one, but maybe like 3 or 4. So stay tuned for that. And thank you so much for 7,000 subscribers. I'm so grateful that the studio family grows a little bit bigger every single month. Never thought I'd ever get to 7,000. That is crazy. Thank you. And here's to 10K in 2018. Yeah! No, my voice is totally gone. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today's very special episode of the studio, and I will not see you next week because I will be away. So I hope you have a very good Christmas. I hope you have a fantastic holiday break. I hope you have a fantastic new year, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in 2018. Good night.